Anyway, it's time for today's Mark Teixeira Report, brought to you by your Mercedes-Benz Tri-State dealers and PC Richard & Son. Mark, as you come in, as you can hear it, don't ask Don any questions. He doesn't want to hear it.
What is going on today?
Yeah, I know. You should be glad you're not in studio because it's uncomfortable.
Let's say Joe Girardi routinely every day asks you what the lineup should be, and you give it to him. And every day he does the opposite. Wouldn't at some point you say, you know what, Joe? Don't talk to me. I got to get ready for the game.
Yeah, probably after 3 days, that would be it.
See, 3 days.
It's been 17 years.
Yeah, so bad job out of me.
All right, so Mark, let's start off with the story in baseball right now. Did you ever envision Aaron Judge? And you kind of answered this last week, but did you ever envision this? This is historic what he's doing. Did you see any semblance of this when you were a teammate of his last year?
No, we didn't see this. Let's all be honest here. I mean, the first time I was on your show before the season started, we were debating whether Aaron Judge should be in AAA. So let's all realize how far we've come in the past 6 weeks, that before the season, a lot of people were saying, send Aaron Judge to AAA, let him get some more time. I was one of those guys that was adamant that you got to put this kid in the big leagues, you got to see what you have. But I don't think anybody expected him to be so dominant right now.
Now, just as a ball player, because we all have egos, right, when you're in the public eye. So if you're Gary Sanchez sitting there going, I was on the verge of owning this town, and I get hurt, and I got to come back, and there's another superstar, does it bother you, or do you say, hey, maybe this is some nice cover that now I don't have to be the center of attention anymore?
This is great competition. I mean, the Yankees have to be just licking their chops right now, waiting for Gary Sanchez to come back. And you're right. This is exactly what young players have, that type of fire inside of them. They have that type of competition, and it's healthy. It's healthy competition for teammates to be competitive with each other. I remember as a young player, I had it with Hank Blaylock. So Hank Blaylock was a guy who kind of moved me off of third base. He was a better third baseman. He was an all-star in 03. I had a good season in 03, my rookie year, but wasn't as good as he was, and it really made me want to be a better player, and it drove me to keep working hard and to want to put up those monster numbers.
And you made up all the money, and he didn't, so you won anyway, Mark.
I didn't say that.
I did.
Making an example.
Greg Bird. So he played the first month of the season with this ankle bruise. They say it's a bone bruise. Now, there's a misconception out there. Well, it took Teixeira forever to come back from a bone bruise, but that was actually a broken bone. So are you worried that this could be the case with Bird?
I am not at all. I've talked to a lot of people about this over the past week. 'Cause, people will call, or I've done some interviews, or I've talked to some fans and said, oh, yeah, Tex, you had that bone bruise in 2015. I said, no, I didn't. I broke my leg. There's a big difference here, and I knew that something was wrong from the very beginning. I was in a lot of pain. I couldn't run at all, and the Yankees knew that. Yankees knew I couldn't run. They were just kind of hoping that I could get out there and stand on first base and maybe hit a home run. But I don't think that's what we're dealing with Birdie. I think he's just sore, and the Yankees are very smart that the team is doing well. They have plenty of offense right now, so rather than have Birdie go out there and kind of fight through some soreness and really struggle at the plate, let him take some time off, get that ankle right, get his timing back after a couple of rehab games in AAA or AA, whatever it might be. And I am not worried. I'm not one of those guys that's worried about Greg Bird. I think he's going to be fine.
Now, do you think this is a 10-day thing or longer? I mean, you're not a doctor, but
I don't want to speculate, but I would take the under on any type of prediction. I don't think it's going to be that long at all.
Okay.
All right, so you analyze whether this could be a playoff team, and you look at the rest of the division. It's not that the Yankees are surprising, Mark. Are the Red Sox really that good? Can Baltimore beat the Yankees in a big spot? Blue Jays really look like a bad team, so were we also not miscalculating maybe how good this division was going to be?
That's a great point. The biggest team that I am surprised about is the Blue Jays. I looked at their roster to start the season, and I said, man, this starting pitching staff could be really, really good. I mean, you had Estrada that had a great year last year. You had J.A. Happ, who was a Cy Young candidate. Aaron Sanchez is getting better. You look at Stroman. I mean, look at what he did in the WBC. You say they could have 4 aces on their team. You knew their offense was going to put up some runs. So I looked at the Blue Jays as kind of the biggest competitor to the Red Sox, and they've been terrible. So you look at the Blue Jays not playing well. The Red Sox, I still think that they're going to be fine. I think the Red Sox are going to get better if David Price comes back healthy. Eduardo Rodriguez can be a really good pitcher. I mean, that guy's got dominant stuff when he's healthy, 95 with a cutter and a slider. So I think the Red Sox are going to be better. But the Orioles starting pitching worries me a little bit. They're going to score a ton of runs. There's no way that team's not going to be in the mix, because Buck Showalter finds a way every single year to have his team in the mix. So it's going to be a fun race. I think the Yankees are in a great position right now. I'd like to see their starting pitching be a little bit better, but they're scoring so many runs, it doesn't matter what their pitching does.
I got to ask you a little multi-pack question about the Red Sox-Orioles series. We talked about this last week, Tex. First of all, the Adam Jones portion of it, were you surprised at all by the Adam Jones story and what he experienced there? And then after that, were you surprised that the Red Sox continued to go after Manny Machado the next game?
Yeah, first on Adam Jones, I'm disappointed and I'm saddened that still happens in baseball and in the United States, but not completely shocked, because you have heard of things happen in Boston in the past. I remember I played with Carl Everett my rookie year, and when we came to Boston with the Rangers, Carl said, "These are the most racist fans in baseball," and I just I opened my eyes. I was surprised, because I never really heard of that. And you heard of David Price maybe saying some things last year when he was struggling. He had heard some things. It's just sad. It's sad that it still happens. I'm glad that Adam spoke up. I'm glad that people are talking about it, because there's no place for that anywhere, especially at a ballpark when kids and families are there watching a baseball game. From the Manny Machado side, this has to stop. Enough is enough. Okay, the guy had a slide that was maybe too aggressive. He apologized right away. You throw at him once in Baltimore, it's over with, it's done with. Let's just play baseball. You got Chris Sale throwing at him again, 95 miles an hour, throwing behind him. Why do we still allow this? I think baseball needs to step up and do something.
Now, I want to follow up on it too. Sam Holbrook, how do you throw out Kevin Gausman when he hit the guy with a 76-mile-an-hour breaking ball? I mean, I never played the game at a high level. I would know you're not going to hit somebody with a curveball. How could that happen in this game?
It can't happen. It's clueless. You listen to the Red Sox broadcast after that pitch, and Dennis Eckersley, who's Hall of Famer, this guy knows the game inside and out, and he said the word clueless 5 times. And that's the only way that you can describe it. It's not. Sam Holbrook had no business throwing anybody out there. There's 40,000 people in the stands that knew that wasn't a pitch that was on purpose. But the one guy that has the call, that has the power, is the one that throws him out.
So when does it come to an end? I mean, Joe Torre met with them. That's probably what happened, right? Joe Torre meets with the manager, the general manager, and everybody's on high alert. But when do you draw the line? When does it officially over?
I don't know. That's a good question, because it should have been over in Baltimore.
Right.
But I said this on Baseball Tonight right after it happened on Sunday. I said, baseball really needs to take control of this. It's all fun and games, and people talk about, the unwritten rules, and baseball takes care of itself, and blah, blah, blah. Well, until a star gets knocked out or loses an eye or ends his career because of a 100-mile-an-hour fastball hitting him in the face. It happens. We see it happen. We saw it happen with Giancarlo Stanton. We've seen it happen before where, you don't see the ball out of the guy's hand. There might be some shadows, during a day game or something, and you react late and your career's over. There's just no reason for it.
Now, Peter asked this question yesterday to us, and I think it's better served being asked to you. Why is it that players hate the ball behind their head?
I mean, like behind their head or at their head? Behind,
like what happened to Machado. I mean, people get really chapped about it, and what I've heard is that your first inclination is to move back.
Yeah. I mean, that's a really good point. You know, when a ball is thrown behind your head, you know, the intent is so great that you know that the guy was trying to throw up there. It didn't slip, and you're right. You know, my first reaction is to kind of go back. And if the ball's behind my head, right, it might kind of just track me and follow me. I remember there's guys that did it really well throwing purpose pitches. John Lackey is one of the best. I played with John, and in Anaheim, I played against him for years. And if John Lackey wanted to send a message that something happened that he didn't like, he'd throw one up and in, but he never hit you. And just enough to show you that the catcher caught the ball. It was always close enough that he just showed that I didn't like what just happened, and this is the message. Don't do it again, or the next one will hit you. I have no problem with that. I have no problem with the guy sending a message up and in where the catcher can catch it. You know, it doesn't come too close to hitting the guy, but when you're throwing behind guys' heads, it's just too much.
Did you ever get hit and get so angry at the pitcher that you wanted to charge the mound?
A few times I got really close. I mean, I got hit a bunch in my career. I mean, Tim Kirchin, the stat guru on Baseball Tonight, told me last week that I've been hit more than any switch hitter in big league history.
Wow. I would not want that.
I got hit a lot. I think over 100 times in my career.
Oh, my God. I wouldn't have played. Not worth it, by the way. You shouldn't have played.
So a few times it kind of crossed my mind. But the problem is nobody wins when you charge the mound. You could get hurt. A teammate could get hurt. You're definitely going to get suspended. You're definitely going to get fined. I mean, what's the point? You know, I've had plenty of times where I yelled something at the mound and told the guy I didn't like it. But, you know, charging the mound and you know, getting in a fight and having one of my teammates blow out their knee protecting me or something, it's just not worth it.
Now, what do you do about the pitchers? Because they want to suspend these pitchers, but, you know, how do you do it? They only pitch every 5 days if it's a starter. You know, if Manny Machado goes out there and charges the mound, how many games does he get? 15, 20? If he gets into a out brawl, like just tackles the pitcher? So how do you discipline a pitcher? Because if you give him a 5-day suspension, well, just come back and pitch on the 6th day. So what would be a fair way to really suspend these starting pitchers?
If you really wanted to make this a real rule that people followed, it's 20 games without pay, because that's the NFL rule. I mean, you look at the NFL. If a linebacker takes a shot at Tom Brady's head, you know, launches himself helmet to helmet and tries to take out Tom Brady, he's getting suspended for 2 games without pay, and the equivalent to that in Major League Baseball is 20 games. So there's not a lot of those type of hits anymore in the NFL. I mean, most of those helmet-to-helmet hits or cheap hits, whatever they call them, are kind of on accident. You know, they're guys that unfortunately are at the wrong angle, or, you know, the receiver is coming across the middle and then he ducks a little bit, so it becomes a helmet-to-helmet hit. But you don't see guys taking out players the way they used to, taking out quarterbacks the way they used to. So if baseball really wanted to make a decision here that this is enough, then 20 games without pay, I think, would do it.
All right, before we let Mark Teixeira go, I've got to ask you about the Syndergaard situation. The Mets wanted him to take an MRI. He said no. Then he goes out and pitches on Sunday, partially tears his lat, could be out the entire season. Now, I checked it out with some sources, and they said a team could force a guy to take an MRI. It's part of a medical evaluation. It's in every contract. What did you think of that situation when Syndergaard said no, and the Mets listened?
It's bizarre. I've never heard of this. This is a very bizarre situation. Anybody that thinks that his shoulder and bicep tightness or soreness was not related to this is crazy. Obviously, he had something going on in his throwing arm. When a guy throws 100 miles an hour, there's a lot that's happening. And if my star pitcher, the future of my franchise, you know, the hope that I have to make the playoffs, is sore, takes himself out of a game or skips a start, he's going in the MRI tube, and he might be in there for 4 hours. I'm figuring out exactly what's wrong with this guy. I have no idea why Syndergaard wouldn't want to go in the MRI tube. So the entire situation is bizarre, and the Mets are paying for it, unfortunately.
All right, here's a text message that somebody sent to us. It's from Zachary in New Jersey. Mark, what was it like meeting Aaron Judge for the first time, and was it anything like the first time you met Derek Jeter?
Is that a serious question?
Yeah.
So meeting Aaron Judge as a college drafted player was not like meeting Derek Jeter.
Because Jeter was established when you first met him.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, you meet young guys all the time. You kind of size them up, no pun intended. and you look at Aaron Judge and you say, man, if this guy knows how to hit, he's gonna hit the ball a long way. So that's the initial thought that I had about Aaron Judge is, hey, man, just square the ball up and good things are going to happen.
Do you? I mean, Girardi talked about the similarities in their personalities. Do you see that?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think those guys are both very quiet on the field. You know, they're not out there, pumping their chest and making a big deal out of things. There's a quiet confidence about them. They're fun-loving guys. They're good guys. Aaron Judge he's like a gentle giant. He's a good kid. I said it since day one. He's one of those guys that you just root for. He's easy to root for, and the same can be said about Derek.
Now, before you let go, Mark, I mean, with the Yankees balling like this, I mean, really playing well and being exciting, isn't there a part of you that wants to be out there?
No, not at all. Michael, I played 36 holes of golf today. I had a great lunch with my buddies. Man, life is good. I do not want to be playing baseball right now. I'm happy to be a fan and a part-time analyst.
Now, do you watch it? Because, Derek Jeter once famously made that comment, I don't like watching baseball if I'm not playing. So how about you?
I enjoy watching parts of the game. I'll be honest, baseball's it's long. It's tough for me to watch a 3.5 hour game.
Amen.
But what I do, and I've told a lot of people this, just put the game on, and whatever you're doing, whether you're hanging out with your kids, you're cooking dinner, I'm playing in the backyard, and the game's on, inside. Just put the game on because things happen in baseball that you want to make sure you listen to, or go check it out, or check out a half inning here or there. So that's kind of how I'm watching the game right now, and that's been fun.
Now, Mark, I think you want to stay tuned because we're giving away Jeter tickets. You might win them.
I'm gonna be there on Sunday. I'll be working the game for ESPN, so I'm there no matter what.
Oh, so you don't need the tickets. Okay.
I don't need the tickets. So give them to someone that deserves them.
All right, cool. I will see you Sunday then.
Yep, I'm looking forward to it.
Thank you, Mark.